Today is Monday, July 10th. This is the Post Up where we run down some of the top stories in sports, maybe a little bit off sports too. But I'm talking to two of my favorite guys here, Brandon London, Dexter Henry. Guys, how was your weekend?
My weekend was great. If I don't say great, Brandon is not going to be happy. So it's
Hey
great.
man, hey man, don't let me haze you into saying great, man.
Yeah, that's hazing. We're going to
Don't
get into that. That's bad culture right there, Brandon. We're going to get into that.
Now it's bad culture, Ryan. Now it's bad culture.
We're going to get into this now.
I
That's
feel
good
like
segue,
Pat
guys.
Fitzgerald.
Yeah. Oh my God. All right. So let's talk about this top story, guys. With Pat Fitzgerald, it was announced that he was going to be suspended for the first 2 weeks of the season due to investigations into a culture of hazing allegations and whatnot. And they came away with two-week suspension for him. This became a story, but now it's become an even bigger story because we're getting more reports from anonymous sources, former players that played at Northwestern, and they accuse a culture of racism. There's incidents they talk about hair length, type of hats and clothes they wore, how they walked, how they talked. It was really, it's just kind of disturbing when you read it, like the accusations from these players. So I'm going to toss to both of you guys. What the heck is going on at Northwestern? And now all these allegations are coming out.
I think what we're seeing right now is a guy who is either out of touch or lost the touch in terms of culture of his program. My name is Brandon London. I am the son of William and Mary head football coach Mike London Sr. He was the head coach at University of Virginia, won a national championship at Richmond, been at Howard. The man's been all over the place. And I've had to share my dad with thousands of players, of other young men. And the reason why is because when you're a head coach, you become these guys' fathers. You become a father figure, like a persona to these kids. And my dad says all the time, like you and Dion says as well, like, you give me your boy, you give me your son, and I'm going to raise a man. You have to know, as a head coach, the head of a program, the head of the snake, what's going on when it comes to your locker room and your locker room culture. My dad, we could be out to eat somewhere, sitting there chilling. He can get a phone call, such and such could have got an arrest, such and such is failing classes. There are systems put in place at William and Mary, which is FCS. So I darn sure know that there's systems that should be put in place at Northwestern. There's no way you can try and say that you didn't know. That's fireable. How did you not know these sort of things are going on? Who's still hazing in 2020, 2023 after everything that's went on? So for him to say that, and then the racism thing coming out, telling guys to cut their dreadlocks, that's just a guy who is out of touch, who's shown that 3-6, 1-11, you're losing touch with the program. You're losing touch with the program, with your players. It may be that time for him to get that boot, Dex. Might be time.
What I always find interesting in these situations, right, when things come around the bad culture, and obviously we were joking with Brandon about being bad culture for wanting me to be happy on the weekend. That's not bad culture. But what I always find interesting, guys, is that when somebody is at the top, which I'm in complete agreement with Brandon, they are the person responsible. Brandon's dad is responsible for his football program at William and Mary. If something goes on, they're going to look at him like, Mr. London, what's up? What's going on here? And what I find interesting is when there's a bad culture and things are going on, whether it was at Penn State, the things we saw there, Iowa recently, and some of the things that we heard around those schools and the problems there. The person at top also believed that people underneath them were going to go along with this and not necessarily challenge the bad behavior or the bad culture that was being set. And so that's always shocking to me. But now I think we're in a totally new time, right? Because you got all kinds of players from all walks of life saying, like, nah, this wasn't true. And I think people are going to question, they're going to push back and say, well, why is this coming out now? Why are the people just saying this now, the unnamed sources? Well, a lot of times in these cultures, especially around college athletics, a lot of these kids, we want to call them that, these young men, they're afraid because the coaches are the ones who have the power. They're the most powerful, some of the most powerful people on campus. They hold the power. They in control of your playing time, everything else that goes on. So I can see why they're scared. But I think when one person speaks out, as we see powerfully a lot in our society, and somebody says, nah, man, this isn't cool, this is enough, you can see how this happened. I think the thing we need to question with Northwestern is who else is responsible for allowing this to go on for so long, right? Because it is the man at the top and Fitzgerald, But as we've seen from Penn State and other places, there are always other people complicit in this that allowed this to go on, that allowed this, whether it's racism, sexism, what abuse, any kind of that form of that, all these isms got to go. But a lot of people, even beside Fitzgerald, are going to need to get up out of here if this stuff is true.
Yeah, it's toxic. It's a toxic workplace. And we've seen the evolution of college sports and what's right and what's wrong and the culture you set. And Brandon made a great point. It all starts with the head coach. They run that entire program. And you saw in the accolades from the anonymous sources and the former players, they called it the Wildcat way. So it reminds me a lot of being in the Marines, or if you're in the Army, they try to regiment you. Everyone's the same, but there's more when it comes to college football. And I think we recognize if you're going to run a modern day football program in college football, you have to let your players be themselves, and you have to let everyone be themselves, because that's how you're going to get the best success and the best out of your players. So if you're trying to brand this Wildcat way and these other players feel uncomfortable, I mean, you heard stories of one of these players had to get Cinco de Mayo shaved into his head because he was from Mexican heritage. I mean, how does that make sense? How is that okay? That's not like, I don't care what, like, that's not right. That's hazing. That's racism. That's all the above. That's unacceptable. And you as a head coach should know better. And your assistant coaches are apparently part of the problem too. When they say this isn't the Wildcat way, you're not following the way we run our program here. And all these players feel uncomfortable because now they have to act white and talk white and be white, because that's how you influence all the other players on your team. And then the worst, well, all of it's bad, but even worse that I see is that you're segregating offense to defense. Most of the players that are black are on the defensive side of the ball, and most of the offensive players are white. I mean, this is insane that we're still, like Brandon said, it's 2023. What are we doing?
Yeah,
so it's unacceptable.
And Brandon made another fantastic point, right? If you're going to call this the Wildcat way, yo, this better damn well lead to some winning. How are you going to be 3-11 or 1-7? What? How are you doing all this and it's not leading to winning? What is the Wildcat way? Losing and racism?
Before that 3-6 season, they did play Ohio State in the Big Ten championship. So it did have some. He has taken that program to a bigger high, to levels that program has never seen. And when it comes to the
now also a level of depth they've never seen before.
But at the same time, there's a flip side to it. I got to play the other side of the railroad tracks on this. When you say it used to be a former player, Dex, Ryan, how many times have we seen that disgruntled player that thought that he should have played more, thought that he should have been involved more, or the coaches didn't like me? How many times do we see those are the ones that's like, oh man, coach don't mess with me, man. He don't like me because I'm this. Coach say that I'm too this. He don't want to mess with me. So we've seen that a lot. So that's why when I'm saying, oh, this is anonymous source, coach's source, because I need to know how much playing time this kid got. Not everyone gets treated the same. Stars, if you're producing, you can get away with some stuff, but if not, then that's the kid that's upset with the coaches for not getting that sort of playing time. But as for the having to cut your dreads and do that, I go to Northwestern. I don't care if I got a mohawk. I got admitted into Northwestern. Forget how you think I need to be in a box and how I need to look. I got admitted to a highly prestigious school like Northwestern. Forget that old Wildcat way. We're seeing the Belichick way. We're seeing the Patriot way starting to die out right now.
I know.
They all fall short. If
you don't adapt, if you don't evolve in anything, you're lost. And Ryan's right. It's toxic workplace culture. And even workplace cultures have to adapt. You cannot continuously do things the same way. And there is no room. I don't think we need to say this here. There's no room for the racism. There's no room for the hazing. Like Brandon said, in 2023, we are hazing.
They out there humping on each other, man. Like, bruh, like, what are you like? But it goes to the kids too, though, man. Because again, the father, as a coach, you don't want to have to be ticky-tack for every single thing that happens in the locker room. You set the law, you set the legislation. Your seniors You guys are the sheriffs and the deputies. You make sure, hey, coach said no food in the locker room after 8 a.m. Hey,
Right.
coach said clean up around yourself. You enforce the rules. So yeah, the head of the snake, he could have gave them a little bit of leeway in terms of my seniors aren't allowing that dumb stuff to go down. So shame on the seniors for allowing that stuff to happen. And
I agree.
that's part of the culture.
But they see the leadership from the coach who's instilling that culture into them, and he's making it acceptable for them. And clearly, the assistant coach is the same way.
Oh, yeah.
Brandon, the head coach knows every single thing that's going on in that program. And for him to say or acknowledge, I don't know about all these hazing allegations, it's total BS. Let's call it what it is. It's total BS. You know exactly what's going on in your locker room. You're the head coach. You always know what's going on, especially if a multi-million/billion-dollar business as college football is right now. So it's unacceptable. And the president of Northwestern said they're going to reconsider now the suspension of 2 weeks. Perhaps he gets longer. I mean, I think it's probably the end of him. To be honest with you, at Northwestern, I don't see how you can bring him back as a coach after all these things are coming out about it against him. So I don't know, man. It's not good. It's clearly not good.
Shout out to Mike London and that clean program he runs down at William and Mary. Go Tribe.
There you go. That's a good
There you
plug.
go.
Good plug. All right. The other thing I saw this weekend, guys, was the NBA announced that they are going to do an in-season tournament for the first time this year in December. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't know what the heck this is. Dex, can you explain what the heck this in-season tournament is?
Please do.
Like, what's the point of this?
Okay, I'm going to answer the second question first. What is the point of this? The point of this is, to me, at least it's the way I'm viewing it. The NBA is known for some time that interest in the regular season has been going down, right? Anybody who's ever listened to me, and I did a YouTube short for us on this before, I think I love the NBA. Everybody knows here I love the NBA. Problem with the NBA is they play too many games. They need to reduce the season. That's something I've said. Now, with this in-season tournament, they are not adding any games, but I think this is about them trying to add juice to games early on in the season when, if you're not a diehard NBA fan, you're not really tuned in. So they're trying to get some games that matter, and they will matter for this NBA Cup, to get people to tune in on Tuesdays and Fridays. So from that standpoint, I get what they're trying to do. And as an NBA fan, if you are trying to get guys to play harder in the beginning of the season, yeah, I'm kind of here for it, right? Like, I'm kind of here for it. How this will work. Now, what is the Cup? In-season tournament, the most that any other team could play is an extra game. Teams are randomly selected based on last year's standings into 6 different pools. And then the winners of each pool, two people, a winner will come out of each pool, and then 2 wildcard teams will then advance to a round of 8, single elimination. Final 4 will be in Vegas. Champion will be crowned. So the champion will play 83 games in the season since 82. You will win the NBA Cup. It is, I guess, for bragging rights, but I think this is all to try to add some juice early on into the season. I don't think it's a bad idea. And I'm actually intrigued to hear from Brandon. Yeah. I'm actually intrigued to hear from Brandon on this because, Brandon, we are English Premier League soccer fans. You root for that team that wears blue, that I'm not even going to say their name. I don't know why you root for them, but, I still like you. But we root for the soccer where they go for different cups. There's different cups, there's different competitions. I'm not necessarily comparing it to that, but I'm saying we are used to that. We're used to watching that. I think for the American sports fan in general, this is going to take some adjustment. I think it's digestible enough, and I think the NBA did a good job of not adding more games to this so it flows within the season. But Ryan, I see your face, and I feel like you ain't here for this. Brandon, you look like you're not here for this.
Let me
hear.
Dex, I understand the NFL is scouring the world for international talent, but there's no need to scour the world for format. You're the NBA. You don't need to be the Premier League. You're trying to rip that whole format off. As a casual basketball fan, I don't have a basketball flag in my background right now, and basketball stuffed animals over there, as you do. As your casual basketball fan, I don't want to see you win the NBA Cup. All I care about is the playoffs. I watch every single game in the playoffs. But if you add this on there trying to get me, I'm still not going to be excited about it, because when it comes time to go and watch, Undisputed or First Take, I don't care about them debating who's the NBA Cup winner. I want to hear them debate who's got more rings in terms of finals, not NBA Cup finals in that sense. So I'm not with this, man. Like, I know we're used to it, and I'll watch the FA Cup, the
I was
Carabao
going to
Cup.
ask you that. Yeah.
Yeah, I still
You
watch
watch it.
those.
You
Yeah,
still
I'm a
watch those.
Chelsea.
Okay.
I'm a Chelsea guy. We win all of them. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we win all of them. That's just
I
part
tell
of
you, we beat y'all for 2 of those last year, but we don't let that. We don't let that.
this last year.
Well, you don't want to talk about this year. Anyway. That's
Hey, but Brian, as a producer,
yes.
you as a producer, is this does this work?
No.
Do you think this will work?
No, not at all. I think it's a ploy for the NBA to get more money and to expose themselves to international play, and also at the same time get more TV money into their pockets. To be real with you guys, I have zero interest in watching the NBA Cup. I will watch it because it is my job, obviously, but at the same time, I don't find, like, I agree with Dex. I lose interest in the regular season unless it's like a great matchup. I really don't find the regular season that entertaining because there is so much rest. We've talked about this, Dex, so many times. The NBA players, they do not care about the regular season. They really don't. They only care about getting into the playoffs healthy and then making the run then. I just think this is like a last ditch effort before we ultimately come to the real decision. What the NBA should be doing is slashing games and making the NBA regular season shorter in order to get the players to be healthier and play most of those games in the regular season. Because I think it's frankly ridiculous that a player in the NBA makes $50-60 million a year like Damian Lillard. Damian plays hard, but I shouldn't just point him out. But there are other players who make max contract and they don't play nearly 75 to 80% of the games in the regular season. It's just unacceptable in my opinion. But I also think the new way athlete plays the game now is much harder and much more physical. So you should listen to them and shorten the regular season. So that way it makes those games even more important because it's a less games to play in the regular season. They know they have less of a chance of making the playoffs if they don't get those wins. That's how I feel about it. I think this in-season tournament is silly. It means nothing. If you win the NBA Cup, who the heck cares? That doesn't mean anything to me. It's new.
That's so
cool.
So that it's funny because I did an interview with Gerard Hector from True Hoop yesterday, and we were talking about it. One of the questions I asked him that you guys are bringing up is who is going to care about this, right? Because I do think it's a fair question to ask in that regard. And here's what I'll put on this: the fans will only care under one condition: if the players care. That's what it's going to come down. If the players play hard and care and make it a thing, then I think people will get into it. Now, I think the interesting people are the both of you guys, because you guys watch, you follow sports for a living, but you have said that, hey, you are the casual NBA fan, as Brandon just said. I am a diehard NBA fan. I got my league pass. I'm tuned in. I'm watching in November. I get that. That is not the average person, and I understand that extremely well. So my take on this is kind of like, am I excited for it? No. And I thought Brandon's perspective is good because Brandon, like me, is a big English Premier Soccer fan. And so we are used to watching other cups and stuff. And I think where Brandon would agree with me on this is the difference that's a little bit in European soccer is that there's still something attainable for that. And there's still some slight status for it. The FA Cup doesn't mean the same as winning in the English Premier League, and nothing is the same as winning Champions League, right? Because you're playing among the best of the best. And what you're saying, Ryan, is what is the value of this cup? Now, value can be added to something in time. It can grow into that. That
with tradition
can happen.
That's what makes it tradition.
But I understand right now why some people are kind of like, I don't know. I need to see. I do think another point that Ryan brings up that is fair: money. If the players care, and right now the winning team, we didn't mention this, the winning team, all the players will get $500,000 if they win the NBA Cup. Which is not for the middle class and lower class of earners.
For the middle class, lower class, it's nothing to sneeze at.
It's nothing to sneeze at. If players care for it, and then you get more TV sponsorship, more stuff, and more money comes in, that's it. But here's my problem. As a diehard NBA fan, Ryan hit the nail on the head. You know what I care about? Quality of games. That's what I care the most about. Quality. And this is why I've been a big proponent of reducing it to 60, 66 games. Let's get the NBA season down to that. I want to see high quality competitive games with the best ballers in the world every night that there can be. That's what I care about. In-season tournament, I see what they're trying to do, and it probably is about money. Ryan, you ain't wrong about that. But if the players care, people will care. If the players don't care, ain't nobody gonna care about this.
Yeah, I think, and sorry, real quick, Brandon, just like about this. The regular season, it feels like it's already at the point of we're kind of screwed at this point. Like we don't know how to figure out resting players, these bogus injuries, and these guys taking time off. I just don't understand how you putting an in-season tournament is going to incentivize these guys to say, you know what, I'm going to play through this injury because I really want to win the NBA Cup. I don't see how that's going to entice these players and want to play more or play harder in these quote unquote regular season games that matter. You know what I mean?
You're talking about the stars, to be clear. The stars,
right? The stars. Yeah. I think the young kids that come into the league, the ones that are unproven, rookies and things like that, they might look forward to playing this and show off their ability. But maybe you can showcase them specifically and say only first and second year players play in the NBA Cup. I don't know, like try something different. But I agree with you, Dex. The season needs to get shortened, in my personal opinion, because it's just too long. It's too stinking long.
I've always been a fan of that, and I love the sport, and I've always been a fan of that.
And real quick, this is what I remember. I want to say too about the playoffs this past year. The playoffs kind of stunk. I don't know about you guys. I thought the NBA playoffs were not. I love the playoffs. Good. Mean, the Knicks had a great series with the Heat, but at the end of the day, I don't think it was really I didn't find it that great. Like the Lakers Nuggets series was not as good as everyone thought it was going to be. Series. You know what I mean? Like everyone thought that was going to be incredible. Wasn't that great.
But on the flip side, that we thought the Bucks Heat game series,
that series sucked. It was terrible.
The Heat, a play-in team beating the 1 seed.
They washed the floor with them. It wasn't like
but nobody expected that.
I get it. Nobody expected it, but like at the same time, like it wasn't like the Bucks brought them to 7 games or something.
You won all game 7.
You didn't like the Warriors King series. You didn't like that
was
good.
Lakers, that one I'll give you credit for.
Lakers Warriors was good. Knicks I think had a good run. I don't think it was a great series. I'll give you that. The Celtics Heat was good, especially with them almost coming back.
Was it?
Listen.
Celtics Sixers.
The playoffs were that was a good series. The playoffs are not the problem.
Yeah.
But listen, we're all on the same page here. Reduce the amount of games. Let's see higher quality basketball. And here's the thing, you can make back that money. People always shoot back at me like, Dexter, they're not going to lose all that revenue. Man, TV deals about to go up.
I know.
You're going to charge more for these seats and stuff. The NFL does it. You know what? The NFL wins. I know it's a different game. The NFL is about the limited games that you have, right? Even though they're trying to add,
they're adding games. They're adding.
I don't necessarily love it, but the thing is, you have a limited 1 game a week. It's limited. People like that. When there's scarcity, people want to come to that. That's the point of what I'm trying to say. People pay a lot for it. Brandon, You're out there with the Giants fans. People get pumped for this. I actually think if you take away from the NBA, people will get back pumped in more into that. And the quality is going to be better. Especially another issue is all these kids, these basketball players, play so many games when they're young, AAU basketball, which is terrible for injuries. That's the problem. That's the real problem that we don't talk about. It's the basketball before they even get to the league. That's the real problem.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I agree with you, man. And staying in the NBA, I want to talk about Victor Wembanyama here. This next thing that really caught my eye here. The Spurs just announced actually today that they're going to shut him down for the rest of Summer League after only playing in 2 games. Wemby himself said, I'm going to take a long hiatus from the media because he saw it blow up in his face with the Britney Spears incident this last week. I mean, that was the full extreme max you could see. Everyone was talking about that incident that happened, and it didn't even really involve him considering he never even turned around and saw it was Britney Spears. And it was an incident, I think, that lost out of control. He talked about the hype and the anxiousness that he faced going to the draft, just wanted to get that over with and getting settled into his new home, coming from France. So there was a lot that was going on for Victor Wembanyama. The hype is all there still. Everyone can't wait to see him in the regular season. I also think a lot of people overreacted to his first game. But real quick, just to talk to you guys, is this the right decision for the Spurs to shut him down for the rest of the Summer League and just get him to the regular season?
Absolutely, because it's great for him mind, body, and emotionally. Like, he already knew the hype or what he was going to walk into being this phenom. You already know. But he got a real dose of American media, American social media, and how we handle things when breaking news. He did what? Oops, he did it again. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think he looked back at it as a 19-year-old and was like, yo, let's talk about the game. Let's talk about leading up to my first game.
He said, all I want to do is hoop right now.
Game. I'm talking about Britney Spears, and I didn't even see her. I didn't even see her. I didn't even know. I thought people were joking, but then you're constantly being asked about it. You're constantly being asked about it. So this is something that I think is great to shut him down, not only because he's about to play in that 82 games season, long season, frail body. We got to make sure that he can hold up, but also mentally. It's like LeBron when he shuts down his social media for playoffs. You got to take a step away from that thing, man, because you got to realize there's so much pressure on this dude. If he's sitting here if you see him on Good Morning America and the NBA show and doing and doing all these interviews, and then he comes out and looks like a dud, first thing they're gonna say, what are they gonna call him, Dex? What are they gonna call him?
Bust.
Bust. So he needs to make sure that he's getting his mind, body, and his focus right for this upcoming season because it's huge on him. You got to step away right now for the time being.
I agree with Brandon. I'm not surprised at this from Wembanyama. I read some stuff about him before. I think Brian Windhurst wrote this really good article on him before he got drafted. He's a really smart dude and takes care of his body, tries to get like 11 hours of sleep a night. I need to be like him. He's really doing good things.
Hours.
Yeah,
11 hours is a lot.
No time to play Call of Duty. Dang.
Yeah, he's giving up certain things, Brandon. Giving up. We understand. The fact that he's aware of this, right? I think Brandon makes a great point. It's about the awareness of what has just happened in his life. It's been a whirlwind. All this media from the time he was drafted or before leading up till now to the summer league and taking some step back. He always is talking about the focus of the team, what he wants to do for the season. So I think he's a young man that really gets it in a kind of way. But I also want to know what he really thinks of American media. He probably was like, this is crazy. Y'all are out here tripping. Like, he must... Yeah, go ahead.
And Dex, I think this incident was a great thing for him because you didn't have let's just think of Ja Morant's scandal and how he's had to sit back and kind of look from the outside in on, yo, what am I doing? Like, social media is a bad thing. I need to focus on basketball and basketball only. This wasn't a scandal for Wemby. He didn't do anything wrong. He was just being a young 19-year-old kid getting flocked by fans and and celebrities wanting to take a picture with him. So this scandal is something that he can look at it. He comes out unscathed. Nothing's wrong with his image. Nothing's wrong with his body. He didn't do anything, no guns, no anything like in that manner. But he can now look at it and be like, you know what? This is what people want me for. They want me to be a walking headline. I want to be a basketball player. I want to focus on what my job is going to be. All that other stuff, my PR department will handle it. My security team, as you can see, will handle it. So I think this has been great for him. He doesn't even know it now. Yeah, it may have been mentally taxing, but this is great for him because now he knows where to draw that line in the sand when it comes to how much he gives himself to media and the fans.
Yep. Rooting for that young man. Just got to focus on hooping. So it'll be fun.
I think you guys both hit on great points there about he's recognizing himself. I need to take a step back and take care of my own mental space and get myself ready to go. So it's impressive that he recognizes that. And like I said, the hype is there for the kid. And I'm really looking forward to see how he comes into the regular season because that's going to be even more hype and it's going to be even more media coverage on him. I mean, everyone's going to be paying attention to every single play with that kid.
You know what needs to happen, Ryan? You know what needs to happen? You need to see Wemby win that NBA Cup. That'll get you excited.
Oh, that'll get me really excited. A lot of tradition there. First of its kind. Anyway, last thing I want to wrap up this entire thing, guys. It's summertime. Are you guys boats guys? Are you guys big on being on boats?
I can enjoy
water.
London don't do water.
London doesn't do water. I can enjoy being on a boat. Ryan, you and I were talking recently about, I've been out sometimes fishing and stuff. I can enjoy it. We know you like it. We know you are a boat lover. So I am
a boat lover. I love being on the water. So I live on Long Island. I grew up on Long Island. I had a family boat growing up. I was always out in Fire Island every single weekend. So I don't know if you guys noticed this new TikTok challenge trend. I had to bring this up when we had to talk about this because this hits home a little bit for me, but also at the same time, there are a bunch of idiots out there on social media who are deciding to jump off boats that are moving at high speeds for a TikTok challenge to post on their social media TikTok video. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's extremely dangerous. People are dying. There's 4 people that are dead already from shooting these stupid, idiotic videos. I want to talk to you guys real quick before I tell you my story about this, but That
You
I don't know if you guys have seen this going
can't
on
get
right
all
now.
fired up like that, then throw to us.
Oh,
No, don't worry.
us,
I'll get
yeah.
back up. I'll get
You.
Red back up. I'll get
Oh,
Red
all
back
okay.
up.
right.
Don't worry. I'll get Red back up. Don't you worry.
Call somebody out. I mean, we're at the point now, Dex. Victor Wembanyama. This is why you took a
Yes.
break from
Yes.
social media
Yes.
right here to stay away from people like this. Rest in peace for sure. We're not here to talk ill about the dead or anything, but I also recently were on the streets of Mess Around Street and Find Out Avenue. Like, this clout chasing is just getting out of control, man. And you're seeing people do some of the dumbest things in the world just for likes. Do you had not have talent enough to be able to put a talent out there, educate people on what's going on and for social media? It's just, we got to that point. I always think, Dex, when Buddy got choked out by Mano because he kept playing with Mano. I always think about that, and it's just like you wanted likes, but you got somebody else, a grown man's hand around your neck, and it's going to get even worse. So Victor Wembanyama, great job. You're not missing anything on social media. Like, it's just gotten out of control, Dex.
What you asked what the point was, excuse me, of the NBA Cup. What's the point of doing this video and jumping off? It's especially, I'm seriously asking that, Ryan, as somebody who's out, out in the boats. And obviously I know you do this for relaxation in your leisure, and I don't think you are jumping off the boats like this. But
not a moving boat.
Not a moving boat, right? Like, how do you not know that that's stupid before you do it? Right? Like, I guess that's my thing. How do you not know that is dumb and dangerous before you do it? And
I've seen some of these videos. There was a video. All right, so story time real quick. There's a video. There's a video of these three girls jumping off a boat, right? And one's jumping off the left side, one's jumping off the right side. The captain of the boat is shooting the video. And then the moronic girl on the front of the boat decides to jump off the front of the boat as it's moving. Guys, what's on the back of the boat that's propelling that entire boat? The captain literally shakes the video down and goes, oh, crap, I can't believe I just had a girl jump off the front of the boat and goes right under where I'm moving right over, where her head could probably get cut off by a damn propeller. Right. And then not to mention the fact on Fire Island video that came out from this past weekend that blew up on Long Island, this idiot moron kid who was 21 years old coming home from Fire Island on the ferry, jumps off the top. I'm talking about a double deck ferry, guys. So it's at least a 20-foot drop, dives over the top because all of his friends are egging him on. And he's lucky the propellers didn't suck him in and he didn't get chewed up and spit out. The ferry, now that he got arrested by cops, thank God. And they also are putting a $25,000 fine that I'm sure his parents in West Islip are going to have to pay for him anyway. But that kid is a moron. These people are morons. Stop jumping off moving boats. It's the dumbest TikTok challenge I've probably ever seen since eating the goddamn, what was the Tide Pods. Like, that was dumb
Tide
too.
Pods.
And stacking the crates up and standing on top of the
crate. Oh my
crate.
God, the crate challenge. How dumb are we?
Listen, and what you know what we have to blame though? We got to blame a lot of the people that are doing this because they're stupid. But the people who are watching this and giving it likes, you're dumb too. You don't have to do it because you're egging these people on. We are part of the problem.
Brandon's the one liking it.
Brandon, you're part of the problem, bro. No. You're part of the problem. You don't have to like it. Ryan, are you out here liking these videos?
No, you know what I do? I actually share them to my friends and go, don't do this, guys. Please do not ever do this.
Brandon, but look, he's worse than me.
No, I'm not posting. I'm not posting it. What I'm doing is I'm sharing it to show everyone, do not do this.
He's sharing
the algorithm says a like is cool, a comment gets you more, but a share gets it to go viral more when you share it. So my little like, and looking at him like, look at this idiot. My little like don't do anything to the algorithm. Sharing it with friends is what keeps it going viral.
I see your point about the algorithm, but here's the point I'm going to make. The people who are creating this content, they don't see Ryan's share that it's an informative share. They see the like and they're like, people like this. I'm going to do more. And it's stupid. We don't got to like it. You know what we need to do more of on social media? Tell people when they're doing dumb stuff.
A dumb stuff button.
Yes, we need that. We need that. That's what we need.
Downvote it. It's
Ryan,
like if we were like Reddit,
yes.
Right? If they were like Reddit, I would give it a downvote or a dislike. That's what I would do.
Same.
All right, guys. That's a Monday. Appreciate you guys.
Don't jump off the votes, people. Don't jump.
Please
off the
don't.
votes.
Please don't.
Do it. Don't do it.
Or Brandon will like it.